Okay, we'll open the meeting. It's 5:34. And first, welcome two ladies, Gail and Kim from the library. We have review and approval of minutes first. So library, fire, and personnel administration. Do you mind if we do the minutes first? I don't think it'll take more than 5-10 minutes. Okay, because I was going to put you ahead, but I don't think it'll take us long. So we have two sets of minutes to go over from previous meetings, the 11th and the 13th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from January 11th?
So moved.
Herb moved. Second.
Second.
Tammy second. Discussion? And let's see. Welcome everybody online too.
Hi,
Hi.
I had two small things.
Okay.
One was on the first Karina Park, on line 10. I think it's with an A.
On the old, I'm sorry, I missed that. This is for the committee minutes for the 11th. And on line 10.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the 13th, sorry. On line 49, I think we're missing a word that they can then use.
Yes.
They can be used. They can be used. Either way.
Either then be used or that they can then use.
Right.
Sorry, what line is this?
49.
40.
Tammy, what was your intention with that? How would you like it to be
Community
used?
discusses the monetary amount that can be used to pay.
That can then be used?
Either way, it can then be used, sure, either way,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Whatever works.
All right, and you had another one? Susan, was that it?
That was the only one on that one.
Okay.
Good catch.
Any further discussion on the minutes from January 11th? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes from January 11th, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, they're approved unanimously. And then we have the minutes from January 13th. And I think maybe we should look at number 10.
Yes, maybe. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, I see it. Karina spelled wrong.
All right, and then the other thing I had on line 62. Linwood School does not have a generator. I don't know that it should be but as.
Or and,
A generator.
we could do and, they're both facts.
All right.
And
You
is
want
it,
an and there instead of a but?
Yeah, basically they don't have it at the school because the SAU doesn't want it to be an emergency shelter, right?
Depending what you want to emphasize. It should say, but the SAU and the SAU does not want the school to use or it to be used.
yeah, because you don't use the SAU for the shelter.
Right, that's what it insinuates.
Yeah, so.
The school is the SAU.
What's that?
what's that?
School is the SAU. School administrative unit, it's, I mean, it's kind of the intent, I mean,
How about, and the SAU does not want the school to be used as an emergency
Yeah.
shelter.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Sound good?
perfect.
Good.
Or was it?
I had one thing. On line 72,
Two.
the last sentence, if we could just change that to Karina is hoping to lower this budget in the future. because I read it first, I'm like, wait, you can't drop the union
Yeah.
contract. But that wasn't,
Okay.
yeah, I reread it and went, oh, I get it now.
Okay,
Reese,
Karina is hoping to
Lower
lower
budget.
this budget in the future.
And
Okay.
where's that?
Line
72.
72, the last sentence there, we were talking about legal.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve the budgets of January 13th as amended.
Second.
I'll second it.
With the, further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the January 13 minutes as amended, please raise your right hand and say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Cindy, abstain. Thank you.
were there any abstentions on those?
Cindy abstained on the
Yeah,
13th.
Cindy abstained on the
I
13th.
wasn't here.
Yeah, right.
Okay. No abstentions on the 11th?
No.
Okay,
Ace? Library? 22.
Thank you for that.
Everybody?
Hi.
Oh, here we go.
Welcome.
Gil, you can pull in the chair too if you want. Get right up beside her, it's okay. We'll let you.
Like to be involved.
Three of those people up here.
Yes.
I can't tell who's beside her.
That's Gail Tremblay.
Sorry,
Thank you.
want my birthday too?
Shoe size. And you were pointing out that on screen, Ivan, Nancy, and Danielle are also trustees, is that what you said?
Ivan,
Yes.
Nancy, and Danielle.
Fantastic, thank you for that.
What would you like us to know?
Like you to know that the library is doing really well. We opened back up in May to in-person public. And everybody is wearing a mask,
Mhm.
including the employees. It's a requirement to come into the library. Haven't had any pushback whatsoever,
Good,
which is really good.
Yeah.
And the budget, we can go through it if you'd like. There's a increase in wages, which is for everybody to go up. We went up with the 5% that the town was suggesting. The next line, the printed materials all stayed the same.
Can I-
Go right ahead.
I don't know if I have a different budget.
Yeah, mine doesn't either.
My budget shows regular wages going down by 9%. Part-time wages going up by 136%.
Right. The reason for that is that we took the part-time out of the regular wages and separated them. So regular wages is 2 full-time employees, part-time wages is 3 part-time employees.
So you added 5% of the total. is what you're
Total,
saying.
yes, right. It's just, it looks like it went down from last year, but it didn't really. We just pulled out the part-timers and put them in as part-time.
All right.
Let's see, telephone, cell phone, fire alarm monitoring, all staying the same.
Carol, that was overspent this year. Are you comfortable with those numbers?
Say again,
That was overspent this year, that line item. Are you comfortable with those numbers?
which one?
Your telephone,
My telephone?
only by about $150,
Right.
but
Right. I think the reason that happened was that we had some issues with our telephone
Gotcha.
service.
okay,
And that went into that line.
perfect.
So
Good.
we actually wound up having to have them come out and look at the lines. And then when they went over to Albashan's lines and found a wasp nest up
Oh,
in there. So
fun.
that's why we're getting a buzzing noise in our
It
lines.
was the
That's what they
wasps.
told me anyway.
And you believed, I'm just,
So that was why. that was
okay,
overspent.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, thanks. The employee training, every other year, I try to go to a conference. And this year is in Washington. So I'm going to be going there in May.
Good for you.
The other option was Portland, Oregon, and I just wasn't in the mood to go all the way to the West Coast.
A long flight.
Yeah, I'd rather go there than DC.
Right, yeah. Building maintenance stayed the same.
What is, you trying to build maintenance? I mean, what,
Building maintenance, floors, windows, carpets, those,
replacement or just cleaning?
no, cleaning and upgrading, you know, if we need to have
This,
a window replaced or something like that.
so this includes upgrading, it's not just like,
It's
routine
mostly
operating, right.
cleaning, and, yeah, I mean, if something were to happen, that would be included in that, but,
But
pretty
in
much
cleaning,
always-
building cleaning here, you have 15,720 on the next page.
right, that doesn't include the windows or any of that stuff. $15,000 is because we have the library cleaned 5 days a week. And 2 of those days is an additional fogging, I guess they would call it. They go in and they spray the whole areas down, because we have a lot of people who touch a lot of stuff.
Is
So,
this-
you know, we try to keep it as clean as we possibly can for everybody involved.
And this would include if you had like the carpets professionally cleaned or something,
Yes,
that's this
right,
line item.
Mhm. Windows, you know, we haven't done a couple times a year. Spring and
If a
fall.
doorknob broke or something, it would
Right,
come out of
Yeah,
that.
that,
Gotcha.
yeah. Mhm.
Perfect.
Speakers and programs, our summer reading program and our other programs haven't changed. We do get grants through the state library sometimes to help offset our summer reading program, you know, with grants
Nice.
for bringing in performers.
Fantastic.
Contracted services did go up because last year we took our building cleaning, we cut our building cleaning in half because we
That's-
weren't open.
That's right, too. The selectmen asked if we could, but cut that in half because you weren't open for almost half the, or a little over half the year or something, yeah.
Correct, yes. So we cut it last year in half, and this year we didn't start really doing a full cleaning until June.
Gotcha.
So our contracted services were over because we had cut that cleaning out.
yeah. I saw that, yeah.
What's the Alexandria annual maintenance fee?
It is our online and our circulation desk system that we have, a cloud-based circulation desk. So that's how much it costs to maintain that service every year. And it's like a 24/7, 365 days a week year service that they offer us. If I have any questions or any problems, I can just email them and they get it back to me right away. Electricity, we just went with what we had from last year. We didn't really go over on our electricity. Actually had a bit left of that. Materials and supplies, janitorial and librarian, it would be any cleaning products that we need, any toilet paper, those kinds of things that we use, as well as paper for the copier and those kinds of things. And then that also includes the printer cartridges, which they're pretty expensive to have, the copier that we have. And we get, it gets used so much, you would not believe how much our printer and copier and our fax machine gets used. It's really
Wow.
amazing. A lot of companies, mostly insurance and medical, they won't take a scanned document. They want it faxed because it's a secure line.
Right.
yeah.
So we get a lot of use of both of those machines, and the copier cartridges are relatively expensive to do.
Was that the public coming in and using that
Yes,
fax? capability?
yes. Mhm.
We don't, I'm not suggesting you do, but do you charge a service fee for that?
We charge 25 cents a copy, which just went up this year. It had been 10 cents forever. But because of the cost of
Yeah.
the cartridges, we had to go up. And the fax service is $2 for the first page, $1 each additional page. And, you know, we give that back to the town, of course.
I just have a question on janitorial. We're paying 15 something to have it clean, but we're still buying janitorial supplies too?
Yes, yes, we provide the supplies for them to use it,
Oh, so they just provide the labor
correct,
and no supplies at all?
except for the fogging that they do. We provide, I think they bring in their own vacuum cleaner and stuff like that, but we have one there. I don't know that they use one of those canister ones maybe, but we provide all the materials for them.
Is this fogging something new since COVID, or is that?
Yes.
something going-
Yes, it is, and hopefully we won't have to do it too
And
much longer,
after.
but I feel better having it done so that I can feel more comfortable inviting the public into the building. Serials, magazines, newspapers, online, they all. The only thing that went up was the online database, and that was for the Mango services that we have. We have a, online language program that we offer public. Audio, video stayed the same. We haven't really increased that because we're finding that the usage isn't as much as it used to be. I want to maintain it, but I don't feel a need to increase it. Because so many people have Netflix and other streaming services that they're not necessarily using DVDs. anymore.
DVDs are a dying medium, so it's probably a sound idea. Invest much better.
So
Where's your internet service?
it's a fiber optic through Spectrum.
Which-
It's under fiber, it's under contracted services.
4,000.
It's like 300 and something a month that we pay
Okay.
for the fiber optic. We do have 6 access computers as well as the Wi-Fi, and we just updated our Wi-Fi routers to accommodate any people that use the Wi-Fi service.
Nice.
We also are in this year going to be replacing our fire and security system as well, because we've had a lot of issues with the one that we have. It's about 25 years old. And had to have it out a couple times.
I think maybe it's about time.
It's time to.
Doesn't owe you anything,
And
that's
you
for
can't, you
sure.
can't get parts for it
Right.
anymore either. So
Yeah.
so it really does needs to be
Sure.
replaced.
What type of system you having installed?
I'm not sure of the name.
The
of it.
wireless one, right?
Yes, it is, yes. Sure the name of the brand, but yeah, it will be wireless, yes, and will be monitored.
Who's your monitoring company? If you don't mind asking?
It's going to be through Alarmco, which is our current provider. Mango Services, Mango Security is the company that we're going with this time, and they also use the same monitoring service that Alarmco did. And that's a 24/7 kind of thing. We don't have a panic button at this particular time because they couldn't fix it. So that was a really big concern of ours in replacing the system for one.
So the new system will.
Yes, absolutely.
911 still good.
Yeah, well, right.
For your
And
panic
I've
button,
instructed
for
the staff
in the
to
new-
call 911 if they have an issue with. We haven't ever had a problem with using panic alarm unless it got accidentally pressed.
Sure.
I tell you, a panic alarm is a good thing to have when you need it. Absolutely.
You feel that like the library is a kind of safe place, but you just never know now.
Well, you think town hall is too, and I tell you, we tested them out here one day.
Yeah.
So you have no fire alarm system now?
No, it's working. But if we have a power surge or something like that, the battery died.
Crazy, that's for sure.
Chargers failing.
The charger,
It's not being fixed.
it's nothing.
Battery.
We've changed batteries several times in the last couple of years, last year anyway, because of those issues. So that's the reason that we're actually, one of the other reasons that we're really replacing the system is the need for that too.
That's funded somewhere else, right? Because I don't see
That was taken out of the
CIP.
CIP. Part of it was taken out of our contracted services budget as well.
I was looking at your offsetting revenue, recommended revenue. And your actual revenue was like twice that. You think you should go up with your revenue?
Well, our printing went up,
Right,
right?
so do you think, would you be comfortable raising your revenue estimates? Or do you want to wait a whole year and see?
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know how
I
you
would
feel.
think that I'd like to see how it goes. I mean, we have it as what, 500?
You have
Yeah.
that as 500 in your, I'm looking here.
Eight something, right?
Well, there was two, miscellaneous income and then user fees, which total 1,035.
It was, I could increase it if you'd like. I mean, you know, I don't anticipate going down. Let's put it that way.
Right.
You know, I think that, you know, if we went up to 1,000, it probably would be okay.
You don't think, what you currently have as revenues, you don't think those will go down?
No, I
That's
don't.
pretty much
I don't.
current trend.
I do not. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but at least it's, you know, something
Yeah,
that's coming
yeah,
back to
yeah.
us.
Exactly.
And on another note, this year I wrote a couple grants and received two of them.
Fantastic,
One was for $5,000 and one was for $10,000.
Oh, great.
fantastic.
Pretty good in grant writing?
It's
We have some other work for you.
Real small ones, not the big ones.
What
working on
what were those grants for specifically?
Actually, both grants I wrote separately, but I wrote them with the intention of having a maker space, which would be 3D printers and that kind of technology
Nice,
to invite the teens in, because we don't see them.
right,
They don't come into the library much anymore, and I feel like they need a space
sure,
to be able to be
very cool.
creative.
So you're gonna get a
Very cool.
3D print.
Say again,
You're gonna get a 3D.
I'm
print?
gonna get 2 3D printers.
I make it.
You should.
Nice.
I was gonna say, I'm
Over.
fascinated by that.
They are. I mean, we have one that somebody donated to us. It's a real old one that, but you could watch it.
It's only
And I
2D.
should have brought the one thing that we made. It was a dinosaur that went like this. It moved, but it was all in one piece. And it was built on this machine.
Nice.
Ivan, who was on here tonight, he loves working with 3D printers and he's really excited about this whole 3D printer thing. And
Fantastic,
these will be more modern ones.
very cool.
I find it interesting that the first thing anybody I know does with a 3D printer that I've ever met is make a dinosaur.
A dinosaur.
That's what we did, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's exactly what we did, yep.
Because it's so cool, right? Well, I mean, they make everything with 3D
Yeah.
printers. Now they make houses with 3D printers. So we won't be making any houses, but we will probably be making some dinosaurs. So that's where I stand with the budget and, you know, the library's doing well.
So if maybe I'm missing it, where do those grants show up in here?
They're going to show up in another line, and if Jonna is on, she could help me with this. I don't see her right now. It's going to be under on our expenditures. It's under number 700 under state grants. That's where that money's going to show up. She did deposit both checks last week, I believe, to put into that.
And so that comes in against your 21 budget?
It's not, it's unanticipated.
Okay.
So we just put it in there and just pull away from it. Just when I submit invoices, she takes it out of that line. It's not part of the budget.
So when it's in there,
It's showing up as a negative.
right, it's showing, because there's nothing there, because you've
Correct.
expended against it, but you haven't put it in yet.
Correct.
And so, but it's actually going to come in as a $12,000 overage.
Yes. But by the end of the year, it'll even itself out once I start expending the money. I'll expend the money. It's not in this budget at all.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
But on the expenditure side of it, it'll show that money's there, and then eventually the money's gonna dwindle down to zero when I submit.
It's all for new things that aren't in your budget.
Correct.
What are the hours of the library now?
Monday through Friday, 10 to 8, and Saturday, 10 to 2. We're open all our hours that we were previously. Yes. There are times when we've had to go to curbside from 5 to 8 if we don't have that second person on. For whatever reason, they might be sick or something like that. We have the library open, but the door's locked. So anybody that needed something, a copy or a book or something like that, we could get it to them, but they just couldn't come in the building. It hasn't happened often, but it has happened a couple times. But that's a service that we'll probably continue on using, this curbside, for those people that don't want to come to the building.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, if they have a child out in the car, it doesn't matter. We bring their stuff out too.
Nice.
So when I look at this is if I deduct say the 7,000 that came back in because the cleaning is for a full year,
Mhm.
is your budget's actually up about 7% as opposed to 10%.
Yeah.
On the end, if I take that down, there's $157,000 basic increase if you remove the increase for the cleaning.
Right,
And so 157 versus 147.
right.
So it's
For last year, this year we put that 15,000 back in,
that's what I mean.
right?
So it isn't,
So it's not an increase this year because it was last year, correct? It was an increase last year.
decrease.
But it was a
Decrease,
decrease
okay.
last.
It was approved by the budget committee
Right.
and then, went to town meeting, but then when the total budget was reduced, the selectmen took that out of there
Because we
to,
were-
Yeah.
to
Right.
come up with the
The cut,
Right.
the savings that we had to come up with due to the budget cuts at town meeting.
But we put it back in this year because we are.
So if it was comparing it back to, that would not be 147, it would be 152. That increase came in. So 152 to 162 is a $10,000 increase. And that's about 7%. What I'm trying to get at is your increase that's out there for 10% isn't a 10% increase over your normal budget.
Right.
Right.
If we went back a couple of years before, 2 years before you took that out, the increase would be less. Any other questions for Carol and Gail?
Have an awesome library, thank you.
Yeah.
Great
you're-
job,
nice job.
guys. Great
I'd
job.
just like to say, we
Yes.
do have an awesome
Yes, you
library.
do.
You
We do have an awesome library, and we do have an awesome board, and they're
They
all
showed
there.
up.
They all came.
I thought you
So,
were pointing at me.
no, you're here too. You're awesome too.
Everybody's awesome. You can be
So-
awesome. and
We work well together. She does a terrific job.
I
Yes,
agree.
you do.
I agree.
Good job on the grants.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
As long as they're little, I can get it.
Yeah.
Thank
Go-
you to
go
the
for it.
trustees for all you
Yep.
do.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
trustees.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, fire?
Where? Number 11.
Did you say that?
Yeah, he did. Where?
I warmed them up for you. Okay?
Okay, Ron, you wanna run down it?
Let's see. So on the wages, obviously the firefighter is on call, that's kind of best guesstimate. We did a 3.64% increase.
I'm having a real hard time hearing him.
Speak louder.
Too loud.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I had to look towards the mic. So the firefighters on call, that's kind of the best guesstimate. So we increased it 3.64%. That's basically like a 3% raise.
Yeah, it's hard to estimate how many fires you're gonna have, huh?
Yeah, well, it kind of varies. So last
Yeah.
year we had 183 calls. And in 2020, we had 215. I believe. In 2019, we had 173. So it's kind of.
Right.
And the length of time you spend on calls affects, how much you expect.
Sure.
So firefighter training wages for fire 1 and fire 2. I did use some of that for, well, 2 of us took firefighter 2 this past summer. Obviously, I'm salary, so I didn't do a draw on that, but Brian Baker, which successfully passed it. as I did.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
We did do a draw on that. And then going forward, the beginning of this year, I have 2 enrolled in the fire 1 that's starting, I think, first week in February this year, up in Bethlehem.
Great.
And if they put on a fire 2 up there, I'll probably have 3 or 4 that are gonna go to that, hopefully.
Fantastic.
I do have a question.
Shoot.
Were you eligible for the firefighter 1 program, which starts at $135 per student? And the firefighter 2 is $150. Am I correct?
Yep, now it is.
Okay.
And then my salary. John, I probably can explain that.
Well, the biggest increase there was that when you got your fire 2, the previous town manager compensated you for that.
It was-
So that was, it wasn't, yeah. And then the 5% that's being
That-
recommended.
That's correct.
Yeah. So the,
So really, I get a 3% and then a little bump for getting the fire 2, and then 5% for this coming year.
correct.
Generally, firefighters, every certification they have, they get a bump.
Yep, they get $1 more an hour.
Oh, really?
Yep.
For every certification?
Well, for,
Fire 1, fire 2.
yeah, fire 1 or fire 2. And if you become an officer, there's an increase there also. So probably everybody's wondering, I think we cleared this up in another budget, but the deputy chief, I think it was in the planning budget, it was kind of confusing that it went up 51%. But that's because the previous year it was budgeted for in public works and half in fire.
And he started in June, so
Yeah,
it was
6
only
months.
budgeted for half the
So 6
year.
months.
6 months.
So that in
So this is a full
2022,
year.
it reflects 12 months with, I think, a 3% or a 5%, John.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. Plus, when he was hired, he got an increase, I believe, of 50 cents once he finished his probationary period.
Pretty good with wages.
So we have, last year when he was split, his time was 50% between fire and code enforcement. And it was supposed to be 50% public works, 20 and 20 hours. So we took the money that was for the building maintenance, or what he was supposed to be doing for building maintenance, building property maintenance. And we moved that, used that over in the code enforcement part. Is that
Planning,
how that moved?
in the planning
In
department.
the planning part. So the town no longer has anybody doing building and property maintenance?
He still does it. He and Ron both still do it.
Yeah, he's still in the firehouse and he's actually helped the library with some projects, repairing the damage from the leaky roof prior to the roof being redone. He's done the floor in the training room. He's done some work in the bathrooms. And
He did some
also-
stuff here too. What was,
Oh, the men's bathroom.
men's
sink,
bathroom, yeah.
The toilet, he's,
So was the bathroom upgrade all done? Because I know last year we talked about the bathroom upgrade.
no, we need to redo the ceilings in there. We gotta get the proper ceiling tiles in there because it's just these tiles in the shower in there. And some painting, but
it's getting there.
getting there. And then the other half of the building, we did the brick mortars 2 years ago from about midway down. And now we've got to do the ceiling and white walls. Which hasn't been done probably in 8 or 10 years.
So the other question I have about this budget is what do you call him?
Deputy chief,
Deputy chief, there you go. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Your deputy chief has a vehicle,
No,
right? No? So the white vehicle out there belongs to who?
Town car.
That's a town car?
Any town, it was the old cruiser, and any town employee, instead of paying mileage for you to go to certification or training or to do something, take the town car.
and sign that out.
You sign up the town car, just like we did with the cruiser years ago, when we had a decent
I
cruiser,
remember that.
and it worked very well. So this time we had another decent one. And instead of giving it away, because that's what happens when you bid them out almost every time, the selectmen decided to use it as a town employee vehicle for when, when you go to fire one.
Well, yeah, so,
Or
yeah, we're
Fire
gonna
two or
utilize that
whatever.
for the guys to go back and forth, fire one twice.
when we have a police officer that's gonna go to Concord for certification, they could take that down. Then we don't have to pay the mileage that we had been required to pay.
But each.
Why not? But you don't have to buy a new vehicle when you're done with it either.
Exactly, no, when this
I mean, you
one's,
know, there's.
when this one's gone, it's
there's
gone.
good ba- There's good bad with that, you know, I mean.
But we already owned this one, and when it's done, it's done. When it starts nickel and diming, that's when we give it away. We bid it out.
Right, but then you're gonna buy a brand new one. to
No.
replace that one? No?
No, God, no.
That one's already been
We didn't
replaced.
replace the last one.
I'm assuming.
We
that
went
was-
years
Oh, I just
without-
asked if that was gonna be an
No,
addition too,
no,
that's
no,
the
no,
reason I
no.
was
No,
asking.
No, we're just gonna use it up. When it's used up, it's used up and it's done.
That's something that was taken out of service from
Correct.
another area
Correct.
and just.
We get that in a minute, just so. we-
Well,
Absolutely.
It's on tape.
There's a history of
Yeah,
that.
no, I guess stuff does have to come
It's
back
what
around.
we've
so.
done what we've done in the past is what we intend to do in the future. If this one dies and there happens to be another cruiser that's in really good shape,
We'll
we'll
use
keep
it.
that one, and do the
Okay.
same thing. If there isn't, we won't. We're certainly not going to be
Right.
purchasing a town car. No. If we have one to use, great. If we don't, we won't. Period.
Okay.
And I'll repeat that Monday night at the selectmen's meeting too. So it's on that tape.
Just wanted-
Karina will remind me.
So. Your 341 telephone. internet,
Is that for a new cell phone? 'Cause when I look.
Can't hear you, Ron.
When I
Can't
look,
hear you.
what's that?
She said she
That's Paul.
can't hear
That's
Ron,
Paul
but
talking
Paul's
now.
talking now.
Last year, when I look back at the minutes, it says it's not for a cell phone, it's for the service. So that John stated that $1,300 is a service plan, not for a new phone. Is that correct?
Service.
Pardon me?
Yeah, that's for the Verizon bill.
The
That's for the
line.
Verizon bill, right? The 2,600 one, it went up that much?
Because the deputy, the town manager at the time wanted the deputy to have a cell phone also for when I'm away. Whatever,
It is another line. It's another service line.
So there's two numbers.
Right. So it's $1,300 for each line. So there's two lines.
These are just run-of-the-mill cell phones.
What's that?
They're just run-of-the-mill cell phones.
Well,
The same
they're
one.
actually like probably 3 or 4 generations behind.
Okay, but I mean, there's nothing special. They're
No, we
just
get
five-
the actual phones are free. We're just
Yeah.
paying for.
I mean, I guess the question is, they're not specific to firefighters, these phones.
No.
No,
Okay,
No, and this may be picking nits, but they're always saying on TV, you can have a line for free.
Yeah.
So
we get the phone for free. You
Can we
don't
get a
get the line
second
for
line
free.
for?
Yeah, we
get
usually
the
don't
line.
pay
Is
full
there,
price.
is there a reason why
Oh.
you went with Verizon, not AT&T
It's-
FirstNet?
It's the only
It's the
It's what the,
coverage.
the
town
town
coverage.
uses, and they get the older, second, third generation phone, refurbished phones,
unlimited.
unlimited, everything,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
The
right.
FirstNet was offering first responders brand new phones and $60 a month. That's what I have as a fire chief. $60 a month, unlimited everything. So it's $720 a year for my phone. and
And how much did you pay for the phone?
Zero.
Zero, free phone.
FirstNet, AT&T first responders.
Karina's taking notes, I can see that. Perfect, thank you,
I,
thank you for
once it
that.
works, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
How's AT&T service up here?
Yeah, that's,
That's another.
And my Verizon didn't work on the gondola and my AT&T
Mine
does.
does. My Verizon works on the gondola. All the way to the top.
mine does too, but
I just, everything I've
I'm
heard.
curious,
either-
what is it, how
Yeah,
AT&T
that's one
It's
works?
either US Cell or your Verizon up here.
Right,
That's, you know.
I know my nephew had T-Mobile when he came up, but didn't have.
Yeah,
very
it
good
didn't.
T-Mobile
service,
doesn't
but
work up
They
there
don't
at
No.
all.
But I don't know about the AT&T, honestly. You have AT&T,
I have AT&T.
and how do you work in town? Yeah,
Great,
excellent.
excellent.
It'd
Yeah.
probably be better.
That's why I
when
switched.
power goes on, it's right.
It was half the cost.
I think they're
Good to
using
know.
Verizon's towers too. I thought I saw that.
I could see our town manager nodding her head. I
Yep.
think she'll look into it. Thank you.
Well, that's also huge for the PD as well, you
That's
know.
what I
because
was
we-
thinking.
So I'll definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Good save.
And the 370 employment training expenses, fire prevention for the kids, kept that the same. Training and memberships. So like Al alluded to, Fire 1, Fire 2 has been reduced at the time when I did this budget. But yeah, you know, it hadn't been approved yet when I sat with Butch. But I am looking to do at least one training. Woodstock hosted one last year, Northeast firefighter, New England fire training. Probably familiar.
They work for me.
Okay. So I'm looking at possibly doing the same thing here. Like Woodstock did, so we can get more of the department into it. Haven't get the price from them yet. But so I just kept it at 6,000, hoping to expand on trainings. Other than what the academy's offering.
Knock on wood, things will open up a little more too. So,
Magazines, the rest of that stayed the same.
Right.
375 dues, travel, and conferences, just kept that the same. $1,000. Mileage reimbursement for training. Contracted services. Service and Peters radios, kept that the same. Pretty much everything stayed the same in there. If anybody's got any questions.
your
What about
building
the
maintenance.
bathroom upgrades?
Oh, wait, I lowered that by 1,000,
So you said all that's left is just the ceiling and the wall paint?
probably a vanity.
Ceiling paint, the vanity. But it's also paint for the
Well,
interior of the building
and
and
also
stuff.
gonna paint all the white walls out in the base.
And the ceiling,
That's
yeah.
a lot of area, that's a lot of paint, so. Obviously, I'll have to look at the price of paint when we go to do it.
It's not as
Everything's
cheap
going up
as you
drastically, so.
like it to
Now,
be. I'll
there is
tell
a
ya.
prisoner program that you can actually have the prisoners come in and paint. You just provide meals and you provide paint.
Yeah, I think I say we loosely looked into that maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I asked Butch about that. What were we doing? What was the project? Oh, you know what it was? It was when Dan painted the community center. And we were too far north. They didn't want to drive them back and forth an hour for that.
What is the insurance?
Oh, the Provident?
Yeah.
That's more insurance on the guys. It covers literature on that. But if, like, we're at a function or something, or doing an event or whatever, it supplements, because they don't have health insurance with the town, the call guys. So if they,
It's like Aflac.
well,
Sort of. They're
Kind of.
covered by the town's insurance when they're on an active call.
right,
But if they are at a police or a fire fundraiser or a ceremony or something, they're not covered because they're not on an active call.
Should that be
This,
into personal administration, Tom? Because it's,
no, because it's specific to firefighters.
it's not open to.
the police don't have
No,
insurances under.
no, because the police all have health insurance under the union contract.
So they're better off, something happens to them while they're working.
It's a
Finance,
supplemental.
but yeah.
And it also covers the auxiliary during events too. They're all listed as.
Yeah.
Truck repairs, just held that same, the tire predicts what you're gonna break.
Just don't break anything.
Cascade, that's an annual. For anybody that doesn't know, that's the breathing air compressor Cascade bottles that we use to refill our
gotcha.
SCBA bottles. Electricity, I got with John on that. We're pretty good with it, even with a forecasted increase, so we left that the same. Propane, we left that the same. Now that the oil is actually working correctly as of today, it should be good.
Knock on wood.
That's been an ongoing issue. Materials and supplies, kept that the same. Cleaning supplies, bumped that up a little bit.
Now that
Obviously,
something's
having
extra.
someone work in the firehouse in the COVID, trying to do better with keep on the trucks. Fuel,
You guys don't need more.
what's that?
You don't need more this year for fuel. It's gone up 50%.
They were underspent by 2255, but I think that again depends on how many fire calls you get or how far away they are.
I know,
That's
it's
hard
just
to
asking.
predict, yeah.
Yeah, your fuel item is as high as mine, I can, 900 calls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but do you drive to the top of the tank when you do yours?
we go to Concord Hospital. It's
Yeah.
a 3-hour trip.
I don't know, that's the actual what we
Yep.
use. What else is there? What was it? We went through the fuel, so equipment. Portable radios, actually Alec. I don't know if you would said something to me or someone else. Do you have a better outlet on radios?
What radio are you looking at? Motorola APX 8000?
6,000.
6,000?
Yeah.
Are you sure they still make the 6,000?
Well,
Because I think they make the 8,000 now. I don't think 6,000, 7,000 maybe. According to Chris Blumer, he testified this afternoon at 3 o'clock.
as well, April 30th, 2021, I got a quote for the 6,000 LI.
For how much?
$3,016, and you're gonna spend 91.5 for the speaker.
That's a good price if we can get it for that.
Charger is 120 and batteries 123.
That's a good price because the APX 8000 is $6,500 a piece.
Holy cow.
That's a price at 3:30 this afternoon. So,
I
Crazy.
better lock in on this then.
and the other
We
one
better
is.
do it now.
Yeah, whereas you go to Kenwoods, and the Kenwoods are only, Kenwoods like we use are only $800.
Well, you get your
So-
pay for. I wouldn't buy a kit.
Well, the
We
Kenwood,
use
the
Motorola's.
Kenwood that I have, I did buy one Kenwood 2 years ago. It's
Yeah.
actually done me well.
Yeah, we
You
bought
got
all
lucky.
Kenwoods.
You got lucky.
Well, no, it's the 6230, the VPN, or VP 6230.
This is the NX 5200, and we have like 30 of them. We changed from Motorola to Kenwood because they're pricing the parts and everything.
So I can get the Kenwood with the mic, the charger, the battery. First programming for 2,704.
Nice.
I just gotta sell it for that.
They like Motorola.
They like
That's a good
Motorola.
deal. That's a good deal.
Ron, can you talk to me about that mechanical gate box?
Yeah, so I did reach out to,
It's not installed, right?
no, so I did reach out to New Hampshire DES and obviously, with this whole COVID thing, trying to get people to get out. Do anything. So we did do another testing on that, that hydrant that's by, the blue hydrant that's by the
Annex
parking,
door.
right?
Yeah.
We did another test on that, and I believe that's probably our best option. Just to utilize that, because even at the gravity, we're able to push more than 500 gallons a minute. If we had to run a 4-inch line down the road to an engine where the gate is, they have those 2 gates. And then I just have to send someone up and close the mechanical gate for the spillway. That'll keep that, as long as there's a good flow, that'll keep that going. In the event I'm gonna have a long, it's just, between trying to coordinate with DES to find out what exactly I had to do to get permission to dam that up temporarily. Because I know what Billy had to go through to just replace the gabion baskets. They had to count in that spillway and everything else. So that's why I didn't put that back in. Paul. I think we're gonna try and best utilize.
What's there?
Yeah.
So that $8,000 didn't get spent last year?
I don't know where we're at. No, I didn't.
The contract that was under equipment?
No, I didn't spend it.
13,000 under.
So then, so this thing, safety gear, that's, wear items, gloves, helmets, hoods. Now the bunker gear, and thankfully to Al, I spoke with him earlier today. I reached out to the vendor that I use, and its price has gone up dramatically. What did you tell me you paid?
I just, so bunker gear would include the boots, pants that fit firefighter, the jacket, the hood, the helmet, pair of gloves. It's like $4,300 per man.
So
And the reason why is most of the gear has to be fitted now.
Right.
NFPA standards, so they actually have to come in and measure you and have the gear fitted properly. And that's
Right, is that
I
fire,
think-
is that fire decks?
that's cool.
Low, okay, so we started using fire decks. We bought three sets this past year, and the guys love it. And we actually stepped it up to a better layer of protection for the thermal and breathability. And today's price for that year, so it's the coat and the pants, not boots or hoods, but I'm taking that out of miscellaneous. 3,146.
So that line's up funded properly.
No, because when that was done, I didn't go with the new price.
Now, all your firefighters have a second set of gear.
Not the new guys. So I brought on 4 new people in 21. 2 of those truly do need to be properly fitted, so they can.
So if you need 4 sets this year?
Yeah.
So you need to raise that up to $12,584. Would you like
What's
us
under that
to?
line?
Doesn't it say 4 sets there?
Yes.
Yeah, it says 4 sets.
But what
I
was
didn't-
your-
I didn't plug
You're
in
getting total.
What was your price that you just said? I'll redo the math.
3,146, and that's from,
Times 4 equals 12,584. Is that what you want in that line item
if I could, please.
in place of the 5,300?
What's the amount he wants in there?
Yeah.
I-
$12,584.
Now, the only thing I do have to say is, I ran into this problem is, you buy a guy a brand new set of bunker gear for $3,000 and 6 months to a year he quits. Now, they
Mhm.
fitted to him. Do you have any policy where he gets a used gear and then when he's been on for a year or so, then he gets fitted or no? Because I've been burned, don't take it literally, I've been burned twice now with buying gear for people. They love the job, they're gonna do it, 6 months later, they leave, and we've got gear that won't fit anybody else.
That's happened, and that's kind of a risk because what we're paying, it's kind of hard to get someone to guarantee that they're gonna, if they don't stay on that period of time, they're gonna refund us the $3,100, you know?
Especially the volunteer department. That, and you've got a lot that have been there forever, because it's a volunteer department, so it's,
Probably more risk of losing people with a volunteer than there are with a paid.
yeah.
So, yeah. So I would think, well, maybe Al's got a point, maybe the first extra set of gear is
Well, but the 2 out of the 4 that go on Fire One, before they test out, they need to make sure that they have good fit gear for that test. Right now, they've got gear that they're utilizing, but it really, like Al said, needs to be fitted to them.
Once they go to fire.
And the gear is only good for 10 years from the manufacturing
Right.
date on the label, so
Or
once
the
it's over
warrant
10 years,
date.
it's so good.
Do it like we did in the military. They buy their own and get reimbursed a certain percentage of it each year.
We have a
over
hard
their
enough
lifetime.
time
I
getting,
know, I'm joking. There's
we have a
no
hard
way to
enough
do
time
that.
getting firefighters. Let's start doing that.
I
do
know,
hope-
I'm joking.
So I do have to tell you though, we have really good morale right now, really good, I mean, it's
Ryan
incredible.
has made a huge difference.
we-
Yeah,
We've
Yeah.
gone from averaging, I think in 2019, we averaged like 3.6 something persons per call when you divide it all out.
on average,
calls.
right.
Yeah.
And we are now, I think we're at 5.6 people
Yeah.
average per
Nice.
call.
Great.
Well, it's quite a jump.
Yeah.
I don't see any way around that. To be honest. I was joking.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
really
yeah.
do that over the lifetime. They gotta have the gear they need.
Right,
and
right.
We don't have slave labor.
You know what?
So you can't
One
make.
thing I had-
Only let the ones with good gear into the burning houses. That's it.
So one thing that I am very thankful for is Mrs. Hennessy, Erin Hennessy,
Uh-huh.
getting that 600,000
Yeah,
for offset revenue for the cost of Fire One, Fire Two, because I have been burned a few times where I've sent guys or gals to Fire One. They either didn't complete it or they completed it and left immediately after.
Yeah.
You know, without, and that was borne, the price of that was borne by the taxpayer.
no different than cost.
I don't know how they operate down
A
there.
lot more money because you're paying 28 weeks, you have to pay their salary
For the academy,
for the academy plus the FTO training. Here, you're only paying
right?
a firefighter one's, how many weeks? 8 weeks, 3 times a week? Or 12 weeks?
I think it's
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and some Saturdays.
Yeah, it's 12 weeks. Fire Two is short though.
Chief, did you ever have anybody take Fire One and not pass it?
That
So then they have to
person-
wait so many weeks and take it again?
They can retest down in Concord, or that, now that we have the Burke facility up in Bethlehem. But I've had some that have retested twice, and you get 2 chances, and then you've got to go back and take the class over again, and by then they're pretty beat down. But we've had real good success. That's only been once or twice.
Wow, that's good.
while I've been to use, so.
That's good.
More what happens is they get fully trained Fire One, Fire Two. Life changes, they
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
Somewhere else,
And we lose them, yeah.
but right now, super crew right now.
Great.
Doing an awesome
Good,
job.
congratulations.
So with the addition, how does that change the bottom line, going from 5,300 to 12?
brings the bottom line, the total budget from 211,560 to 218,844. So I was doing some math here, your total increase is just over 16,500, but 13.5 of that is increase in wages, well, 14,400 is, 13,500 is increase in wages, and the bulk of that is the other half of the year for Ryan, so your budget looks good to me.
Just so you're all aware, put this out here, that currently I have 2 of my members on my department are also members on Woodstock Fire. And one of their members is on my roster here. And that has actually worked out well because there's been times where Kevin Massey, I'll mention him, give him credit. Kevin has come to one of our calls when he's available, when Woodstock's not having a call. And that fulfilled my need for that call, so I didn't have to call for mutual aid. And then vice versa, I believe that's happened for Chief McKay, where if my two guys, Dave Tomaso and Ryan Baker, if they're available and they respond to one of his calls,
Fills his
it
need.
fills his need, so then he doesn't call for me for mutual aid, which then if I have 5 people show up to the firehouse and you really only need 2, well, now I'm still obligated to pay 5 guys 2 hours for showing up.
And I love
So-
that. I love that the cooperation between the two towns. We're going in the right direction. And thank you. Keep it going.
Well, and
I thank
it-
Chad for the same reason, because the police department's doing the same thing, and that's the direction we want to go in. Nice baby steps, and we'll get there.
Well, and Chief McKay's, instrumental in this too,
Oh,
because
he's awesome.
he was open to the idea of trying it, so Kevin Massey broke the ice.
Yeah.
With being on both departments, and it's worked out well. He came to me, I thought he was leaving Woodstock and coming back to Lincoln, because he left Lincoln to go to Woodstock. And I said, have you talked to Chief McKay about this? He says, well, I'm not getting done in Woodstock, I just want to be on both.
I want to do both.
Well, I still need to talk to Chief McKay because I wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
he's good with this.
Sure.
So I met with
Okay.
John and he says, yeah, I'll give it a try. We'll see how it works out. He says, this kind of, we can call ourselves a blended fire.
There you go, blended
There you
family.
go.
I love it. No,
It's
I'm-
kind of a step in the direction.
It's awesome.
Someday
Yeah.
it's probably gonna happen.
That's a big step.
no, I love it.
But I,
Keep it up.
and I think, and the reception from Woodstock comes over here, we go to Woodstock, everybody, it's super appreciative. Everybody's keeping it professional, they're getting the job done. The last call I had just the other day, the chimney fire in Woodstock, brought our ladder to Woodstock to assist them. Dave Tomaso was in black fire gear. He's primarily on my department. He didn't think that we'd get called to that, so he went to the call in Woodstock. He comes out, he looks up at me and says, "Oh, I could have been operating the tower on this call if I could." But it was all good. Everybody had smiles on and get the job done.
Great. Okay.
So I kind of drifted here. Does anybody have any questions about anything else here?
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
Thank you all.
Thanks, good job.
Okay, personnel?
5.
Did you do that before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We did that when Chad was here.
Number 5.
Number 5. Mike, do you think there's a need for anybody to present this? I think it's kind of a,
That was one, figure we just go down through and talk. We have John here, we have you here.
Karina's there, yeah. It's all kind of self-explanatory.
No.
I will point out that you're gonna see one of the biggest jumps is retirement. And that is because the New Hampshire retirement system last year increased all of the rates for all of the employees, both group 1 and group 2, but because they're on a fiscal year versus a calendar year, it was only for 6 months in 2021. And in 2022, you're gonna see that for the full 12 months. So that's why you see that significant kind of jump in the retirement. It's based on state statute, and unfortunately, we have to follow it.
Just the police officers or group 2?
Group 2 is both police and fire. Group 1 is, all
You don't have any
Exactly.
on fire.
No, I'm group 1.
Right, you're not group 2.
No.
Oh, there's no group 2 fire.
oh, right. I forget that Ron's when you have a full-time fire department, you're in group 2 as well, but when you don't, you're part of group 1.
Formal education, is that for the police officers? Online, it says formal education per union contract,
Yes,
and
Yes.
personnel policy, is that all for the police?
Yes,
yes.
So,
What is the short-term rentals management? That's something new, I see.
Where's that?
That's the last line on under contracted services.
what are you in? Are you in number 5?
Oh, no.
That's
Planning
okay,
and
no
zoning.
worries.
It's the next page.
Yeah, we're number 5.
All right, I thought they ran in together. but
No, they
So,
don't.
no.
No.
My bad. They're not bad.
No worries. Just don't let it happen.
Did we already go with the planning and zoning?
We did.
Yes. And that's a private company, right? The short-term rental management?
Yes, we took the quote from a specific company. However, there are others out there, but they were all roughly the same,
Because I'll do it for that.
right around the same price.
I'll do it for
Do you
half of
own the
that.
algorithm to identify unregistered short-term rentals? And can you report to all of the short-term rental companies at the same time when somebody's not complying with our local ordinance?
I could develop the algorithm. I don't
Excellent.
know about the, would cost me
Okay.
$30,000.
Second week of March. Let me know if you're ready.
All right. I have no questions on what we're talking.
A whole lot you can do
Yeah,
here.
there's
No,
not much you
Yeah.
can
no,
do here.
this
It's,
is
all,
numbers that
it's-
are
yeah.
by health insurance. It's in
You can-
stone.
You can say no, but it isn't gonna matter.
No, that's right. Doesn't matter.
it's all
That was the-
contract. It's just.
Retirement contribution, social security,
Like,
Yeah.
is that the last budget we had to look at? Yeah.
Yeah.
that's it.
Woo-hoo.
Boy, these are.
We need to review revenues.
Oh, thank you for that, Donna.
But those are huge increases.
Yeah. Well, state statute.
81,000 for retirement.
You know,
Yeah, went up to
Yep.
33.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Health and dental.
Well, dental, of course, that's gonna be-
That's all went down,
For the.
the non-union
non-union.
employees.
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing. On unemployment compensation, that went down, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Everything
that's
else.
all good, yeah.
At one point in time, the state used to contribute to the town's retirement contributions for their employees. That is back up in legislation to have the state kind of come back to that. So, you know, obviously the town of Lincoln and most municipalities are going to write letters, you know, to urge the state to kind of come on board, especially because of such the increases in the last, you know, year or so. This isn't the first increase that's happened in the last, let's say, 5 or 6 years. So, you know, it's definitely something that municipalities are looking into because it's something that's not going to be sustainable for a really long time.
Revenues?
Did we not get any, can someone speak to the increases in the revenues and why we did not, have we not received any actual revenue from the cable TV franchise yet?
I have not yet received anything from them. I have inquired and have not received yet.
So the increase in the, there's an increase in the short-term rental, right? substantial one.
Yes, because we
Yes.
raised it, it was $50 and then this year it's $100 registration fee. So we assumed that the same amount of short-term rentals would register and just double that.
They were talking 900%.
We had right around 400 registered.
How many did you use?
Granicus identified a little over 900 in town. We had about 400 that we could literally find and get
And
registered.
that 31,000, the management company should enforce that.
That
They're gonna
40,000 is intended to offset that cost, yes.
find-
So
But
what's
you'd
the-
have to have 310 people for them to find that aren't currently registered for that to pay for itself.
No, sir. We're already gonna have, we've sent them out, the registration out already. We did last year. We had about close to 400 registered at $50 each. There's your 20,000.
$20,000, right?
This year, we went up to 100. We had already intend to have the 40,000. With
Well, I'm just
what we
saying,
have.
that fee is for them to find people who are not paying. As opposed to the ones.
Identify, send them the bill or send them the registration form. And then make sure that they do their registration form. Then collect money. So the ideal thing is to break even. You do 400, you get 40,000.
Right, so
But during this process, they potentially could bring in
An
another
additional
200
40,000.
or so.
no, but we should be able to estimate how many over that we already have that paid this year, last year, for example.
They have.
We are gonna assume that those people are gonna pay next year. And then we should be able to have some way of estimating whether there's any return on that investment, in my opinion. And that
Absolutely.
return has to be pretty high.
What they'll do is if this passes and everything, then the selectmen will choose the company to manage this.
Mhm.
Then every registration that happens in-house.
Will get turned over to them.
Be turned over to them, then they
Oh,
will,
so they're gonna handle the administration of it.
Yeah.
All of it,
Right.
everything.
and then we'll be able to get reports, and then we'll also, depend on the suite that's selected, that the selectmen will choose. We'll be able to just upload reports where they're at as far as registrations. I'll get copies as the fire chief, the police will have it.
That's it too. They'll also communicate with the police so
Yeah.
that if,
Oh.
there's a disturbance or a parking issue or something,
All right, I wouldn't do that for 31.
they're in constant contact with the police department too.
Well, and the other
How much would you like?
Well, and the other good thing that they do is they will weed out the nuisance or the everyone will vet and make sure it's a legitimate complaint. Just because you don't
Exactly.
like,
Because you get a complaint.
just
doesn't
because
mean
you don't
it's
like
legit.
a short-term rental property that's 2 houses down from you, people will all of a
So you
sudden.
call and say, hey, they're making too
Yeah,
much
they make
noise.
They also do the adequate, like, reporting, say that the short-term rental there down the road gets the police called on them, 12 times this month, that they report to the short-term rental companies that they rent through Airbnb, VRBO, et cetera. And they also make sure that the rooms and meals tax that is owed to the state is being paid by them. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of levels to this that we can't do in-house. We just don't have the staff to do it.
I just think how much work it is to manage a hotel where the town is trying to manage
Right,
900 buildings or 900
Right.
units that are not attached.
Right.
They're spread out.
Yeah.
throughout the
Right.
community.
No, yeah, cost a lot.
yeah. And it's not even that hotel, it's like that hotel, but you're also got 800 employees to help, to deal with.
Yep.
The people that are running these, so, yeah.
The big thing too, that if they're not registered, they have the ability to, we said, talk to the Airbnbs, to let
Yes.
them know that these are unregistered. So there's a lot of,
Right.
they have enforcement, some strong enforcement power.
And they did, the gentleman from Granicus, and I forget his name, did say that the top 4 or 5 short-term rental companies are very good about saying, you will register and comply, or you won't rent to us, period.
See, and
So-
joking aside, it is fairly easy to write the algorithm that they're going to use.
Right.
I would just have something that checks all the short-term rental sites.
Fairly
compare it
easy,
with
he
our
says,
list.
look, I turned it on, I'm happy with that, I can't,
But,
no computers.
But so that would be cheap, but if they're gonna do the management.
Oh, yeah,
piece,
there's a whole ton of it.
Identifying, I think, yes, that might be.
Yeah.
Now, is the town required an inspection for each unit?
It's a
Chief?
volunteer, and I think it's written in that
Right.
application that
Please suggest that you contact our fire chief for an inspection. Yeah. I know that you have acted on a couple of specific complaints or reports and such.
Oh, yeah.
But as for going out, hopefully we can get kind of a system or something going once we have a short-term rental company and get there. We're just not there yet.
Do we have any plans to maybe having an inspector do that as like a full-time job?
We don't know yet.
Is there-
That again goes, but let's
Is
get this
there-
thing going and figure it out and talk with the management company
we're
and
gonna have to wait and see what the
See where we can
legislature
get.
does with the
And
bill
is there
list
a-
reform.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there a need? I'm not envisioning a need.
there's a need,
Do
one,
inspection.
a perfect example is there was one house that had put, I forget, 12 beds in a basement that had one means of egress.
Hmm.
Yeah, between the
Yeah,
bunk beds and the bed,
outrageous.
they've got 12 or 14 people sleeping in a basement with one way out.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, the
That's
need
right.
for inspections is
It's like
definitely
foster-
there.
No, but
It's like
again, that's-
foster care, you have to have an inspection.
Right,
You have
Well,
to have an inspection, has to be signed
yeah.
off by inspector.
but you're running the foster care, somebody else is running this. I think there's an algorithm to identify that too, because
Mm-hmm.
you can identify, you can go to those rental sites and identify who is
that's
Uh,
part of what Granicus
increasing
does.
the.
Yep.
What their occupancy they're advertising.
That's
is.
something else they do. They'll go on through our tax cards and say, there's a 2-bedroom house, but why are you advertising it for 14 people?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
Exactly.
Well,
So,
and
that's all
based,
part of it.
based on the reports, we could actually probably identify properties that have done added bedrooms.
Mhm.
They're advertising more bedrooms. so
Yep.
it's probably
or they
advertised.
say, we've got 5 bathrooms and 2 hot tubs, and they're listed as a
Right.
2-bedroom, 1-bath house. I mean,
Right.
it's- yeah,
There's some revenue.
exactly. So,
I'm surprised their insurance companies don't come down on them as far as, you're putting 12 people in this room. with
Well, they
one-
would if they knew about it.
Exactly.
They won't pay.
We didn't know.
If they
about it.
discovered after the fact, they
Yeah.
won't pay claims for those.
That's one of the things you need, fire protection system, CO.
Right.
Exits, you need all that inspected prior to issuing the permit.
Turn it into a boarding house.
And then what's the legislation in front of the state?
To limit even more of what is inspectable. Basically, right now, it's smoke, COs, fire extinguishers, means of egress. They want to make it even less.
Oh, really?
Well, because the lobbying efforts of the
Airbnb.
short-term rental
Yeah.
companies. So Sean Toomey, the state fire marshal, is watching it closely. I think he's actually gonna be testifying. That should be coming soon. We'll know whether that makes it through the legislature or not. But
If we do go down the road at some point, I know this is off topic of bearing the cost of inspection, then I would say you really need to increase again. that-
Oh, we passed
Oh, yeah.
license.
I would strongly suggest the selectmen that they pass
That's
that
that
on.
on.
So how did North Conway forbid them? You know that
Well, in the residential zone.
Yeah.
I think
They-
that's still. in
they live
litigation.
They have
business
some ordinance
in
from
the residential area.
1920 that they invoked that said that it's
Is that
not
what it
allowed.
was?
No, I heard that.
Yeah, but it's on appeal to the Supreme Court.
Oh, okay, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But
Is it 7?
it's been upheld in communities, something, because I've had to be involved in this. quite a bit.
It's really set up.
It's been upheld in communities that have passed those bans if they do it with, the right legislative process. People can sue, but that's still up there, property rights versus. Zoning. So far, most communities that have done it, it's been upheld.
You have the evidence?
Further discussions on revenue?
Motor vehicle registrations, look like you're anticipating that to drop this year.
Where are you? Motor vehicle.
I can speak to that. Jonna and I looked through things and we also talked to Kristen about I guess our concern is that with the mass influx to the northern communities last year, we don't know how many people are still going to be here in 2022. So we kind of cut the difference and met ourselves in the middle and hoping that maybe some people will still be here and so we can still collect the revenue. But we were, I guess, somewhat being cautious that people who may have registered their car here in 2021 might not do it in 2022 just because of essentially COVID.
Makes sense.
Yep.
What is the EM miscellaneous that's new this year that didn't have anything?
EM,
3401,
Oh, I see.
401,
Emergency
underneath revenue.
emergency management, that's that, the revenue from the grant.
4,000 you're talking
Yeah.
about?
It's an $8,000, if you go to emergency management,
So we're getting $4,000 this year. We didn't get it last year. Is that what you're saying?
correct.
Correct. It's for the Emergency Operation Plan 22
Thank you. Yep, that's
in
right.
2022.
EOP.
Line of cover is 49 cents.
So
That was Ron's 49 cents.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
I don't know what that's.
I don't
for.
either.
So the library was just talking about getting a grant. She got 2 grants. Should that not be in here underneath revenues or not?
I'm not sure the details of the library grants. Are you, Jonah? I mean. they weren't
So
in-
the library grants that they spoke to earlier tonight were, they accepted them as unanticipated revenue. So it doesn't go on your estimated revenue sheet because when you apply for grants, there's no guarantee that you will get it. So you don't include it as your base revenue. And so the grants that they were speaking of this, earlier this evening were unanticipated. So they're not considered, I guess, estimated revenue.
Can't put them on revenue. Gotcha.
The town of Woodstock Recreation and Community Building. The estimated 2021. Where do you get those numbers from? Because I'm having a hard time looking at our sheets and seeing what 2021 was budgeted and then seeing what was on here being the same.
It's typically half of the budget. And then including the revenues and including half of the benefits as well. I can actually give you guys a worksheet on it if you'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I don't have it tonight, but I can provide it.
I think it's,
So shouldn't it,
Sorry.
it's not on our 2022 budget that we received. Because in our 2022 budget that we received, it shows 2021 budgeted amount for revenue from Woodstock. And it says town of Woodstock revenue was 167,506 in 2021 that I see. Maybe I'm not reading this right, I don't know.
Well, you also have to consider that it's based on the gross number. So it's based on the full budget as if we expended the full budget. If we didn't-
I
157.
Right, I understand that, but then when I look at that 167,506 and apply that as 2021 estimated for the Parks and Rec, it comes out to it was 138, 151.
She had estimated 156, 115.
Parks and Rec is a little bit different. Give me a minute. You take the budget less the account numbers of 800 and 850. Those two numbers don't get split with Woodstock. So you take the half of the budget less those two numbers, the 800 and 850. Meaning it is her Town of Lincoln Parks and Patriotic and her general repairs and equipment.
Okay, so what you're saying is that,
Those expenses don't get shared with Woodstock.
okay. That's why the numbers don't jive because
Right.
it's,
That, yep. The rec is a little bit different than the other two.
so the budget that we got showing last year's included all those, but it's just shown in a different format here.
Correct.
Okay,
Lincoln has all the capital expenses and such at the rec department. which
okay,
is
so the
different from
ski area revenue, you would expect a pretty good increase there, but not much of an increase in the summer camp and the adventure camp and,
Yes, because we sold almost twice as many season passes this year as we did last year. We're very conservative with the numbers last year to keep the numbers low, but
Mhm.
felt comfortable this year increasing those season pass sales.
Last year was the amount.
However, summer camp and adventure camp are intended to be the same.
And there is a Senate Bill 249 prohibiting planning and zoning ordinances that prohibit short-term rentals.
Right. And the language in that is also to limit the inspection powers of the.
Yeah.
authorities having jurisdiction.
That's in New Hampshire.
Yes,
New Hampshire.
that's in the
It's
House
it's
now.
something that's been
Yeah,
passed
but
or
it
it's.
only
No.
pertains to
It's
one
in-
and two families.
It's a
I'm sorry?
I
proposed,
think that bill pertains only to one and two families.
but it's proposed. It
What do you
hasn't
mean to
passed.
one and two families?
Single family homes. or-
Single
Oh,
family
good.
homes.
Yeah, I don't
Gotcha.
Can't do an
Oh,
inspection on a
gotcha,
single
gotcha,
or
gotcha.
duplex. You can do it on a triple or anything.
I
like that.
gotcha.
Right.
there's
Okay.
a lot of things, there's a couple things like that.
Interesting.
And that's in the House now, correct?
You still get the $60,000 every year until 2026.
Until that bond is paid off. However, the last payment will be less than half of that 42,000 that we are putting back into CIP.
Any more further questions on it?
I have one question. I'm just curious, how much is the town, what's the percentage of the town receives for the meals and room tax? The restaurants and hotels paid for tax. How much is how much does the town get? I know there's a number here of 128,000.
I know.
State it's 8%, right?
8.5.
That's how
Yeah,
much.
8.5.
That's how much. we pay.
That's what the tax is.
Right.
But you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know what percentage the town gets.
I mean, I would think it seems like a small percent of what's
Oh,
being
it's small.
collected.
Oh, it is.
125,000
Small,
is-
yeah, yeah.
They just send us that little check.
That's-
Yeah.
Mhm. They just tell us this is your amount.
Can't go out at
I
their
know.
books.
I know that we pay half, which is a big number.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much big problem. I'm curious.
Well, and Dennis, I agree with you because I know that Campton got a similar amount. And if you look at Campton versus Lincoln, it's obviously vastly different when it comes to that rooms and meal tax. So, it might be something to look into. I can put it on my notes.
I'd be curious to. know
Yeah,
what that is.
just to find out.
Thank you.
And for a while, they weren't returning anything, were they? There's a couple of years. that they
I
weren't
think
getting-
way back, I didn't think we got anything.
Yeah,
Oh, honestly.
It was
you're right.
fairly recent we
Yeah,
just started
way
getting
back.
anything.
yeah.
Right. And they did reduce it last year and now they bumped it back up. So I can look into that.
Thanks.
And nothing further on revenue?
Are we meeting on the 27th?
I was getting to that. Just gonna get to that. Let's see. Are we meeting on the 27th?
Are we gonna approve any of these budgets tonight or not? No. But I don't think we have a choice. See y'all on the 27th.
I don't either. The only other option, and last year this one that we have as a snow day, last year we had it scheduled for approval budget.
I have a question though, but some of these budgets we changed tonight.
Yeah.
So that means you're gonna have to get them printed out, so we see the actual budget. So would it be better to meet next Tuesday? That would give them time to
We don't
update.
have it noticed.
Excuse me?
We don't have it noticed.
We don't
We have our
even-
next meeting noticed for Thursday.
I don't
this
think there's a
coming
meeting
Thursday.
notice for Thursday.
We don't, there is,
Where was it
I-
noticed?
I originally noticed them all with the
But
Zoom
can't we
links.
notice
According to us,
one?
yeah, you need
Wait,
24 hours
wait.
notice.
Wait 1 second. We're noticed? How?
Mhm.
Why?
Notice of meetings or when I brought you the schedule and you approved the schedule. I scheduled all the Zoom meetings to go with each date
Yep,
that was scheduled. And it was noticed.
There's not a
The
Zoom meeting. notice.
paper,
Yeah,
it was posted at the
never-
post office, it's on the website, it got put on the door, it's the legal notice that had to be done, it was legally noticed.
The legal notice is the one that we put out, has to be out 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24
Yeah, why
hours.
can't we notice it for, that would give you time to get all the budgets updated.
But wait,
so-
let's not go there yet.
We have
I'm
one,
just,
right, we
I
were
wanna
supposed
find
to
out
have one on
about this.
27th.
what's that?
We were supposed to have one on January 27th, right?
That was
Yeah,
a snow.
I don't
day.
have,
That was
Snow day, but I mean.
Well, it's an
it says-
extra, I think it posted.
If needed.
It says open
needed.
snow extra. So
Right.
we-
Additional if needed,
Right.
yeah.
Last year, it was listed as, described as approving budget day meeting.
So we should have done, that one should have been noticed, right? Because as well, if we were noticing all of the other ones.
Again, I'd have to look into it, as far as I've never
We'll
heard of
have to
us
see
noticing
if Jack's
everything.
available, because OJ's out of town and I'm not available. and we
Well,
must have a
wait, hold
selectman
on one
representative.
second.
This is the budget.
Hello?
Yes, Jonna,
I can get the budgets to you guys tomorrow, to Mike tomorrow morning or before noon time,
okay,
I like hard
and we
copy.
could meet on Thursday.
we'll have hard copies.
Okay.
I
Okay,
can print you one here, Paul, and have it ready for you.
Chairman, can I be excused for Thursday?
Yeah, I won't be here either.
I won't be here.
all right.
I have another budget meeting.
Mr. Chairman.
Is, and the other reason that I say we do it because if we do, if we wait until the hearing and do it before the hearing, because you have to present the hearing with a recommended budget. You do it there, I mean, basically, we're all set, we're not changing anything, nothing else is coming through. And I don't think we're at that stage yet. You know, we're looking at these tomorrow, there still leaves us time, if anybody's got questions or anybody else, you know, looking for adjustments on anything, there's still time to do it. Not, when I say 20.
All right, I mean,
Thursday, you mean.
Thursday.
Yeah.
So does everybody want a hard copy?
I do.
I do.
Yes, Please.
Okay, so why don't you plan that they'll be ready at lunch after noon time tomorrow and you can pick it up at town hall after noon time. Does that
Well-
work?
Thank you for that.
well, hold on, do we need them before the meeting? Does everybody want?
Yes.
See, what I'm trying to, and partially with this is, that's what's happened in the past. These copies and who's going where to get what has always gotten spread out. So we need updated copies for the meeting on Thursday, I think, right?
Mhm.
Is that what everybody's looking for? Is hard copies for the meeting on Thursday?
Right.
All right, so could we just do it the same way?
I'm good with that.
Tuesday, Wednesday. No, I mean, if we can get one tomorrow, I just don't get it. If I have any time to look it over, I can look it over when I can.
Yeah, Jonathan,
Versus coming here and then trying to, do, spread it all.
Okay.
you could send it to you digitally and have a hard copy printed for everybody.
There we go.
Yes, you post it
Yeah.
to the
Yes,
Google Drive
send
anyway.
it
Yeah.
digitally, and if somebody if you have them here and somebody wants to pick them up, okay, that's fine.
Perfect. We also have. the-
Everyone will have a hard copy. If they don't pick it up prior to Thursday night's meeting, it will be at town hall for Thursday night.
Okay.
And I will send the whole budget to you, Mike, as well.
Fantastic, thank you.
So John, as well as
1 second, Al?
The rooms and meal tax is distributed by population.
Oh, that
it's
makes
not-
sense.
So it's not distributed by what.
Where it's
areas
generated.
brought in.
No, because if you look at the New Hampshire website, I just found it.
Nice.
It's
So not by
distributed
where it's generated.
population.
That's
think we-
interesting.
I think we lose on that deal.
No kidding.
Yep.
No kidding. Yes.
All the high concentration in tourist areas. we lose.
Yeah,
no
you're,
different than a school tax.
That's,
we can
wealth-
say you're welcome
that's
to,
wealth redistribution.
you're welcome to all those bedroom communities around
necessarily.
Manchester and Concord.
It's on the Same day as the school tax.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all good with Thursday at 5:30? Okay,
So I
Just
have a
wanna read-
question still about the budget, but we received the capital reserve and trust fund warrant articles. Something tonight.
That's, I was just
Well, no, it
gonna
was,
say,
it was,
I
so
thought
before
we-
we had this 2022 meeting, special warrant articles, and tonight. On my, in front of me
Yeah,
was
we already
this.
talked about
Yeah,
that.
we did
Yeah,
those.
We did
that
those.
was done early on.
I understand it, but
There's change, I see what you're saying.
there's a change. There's change. I mean, the one for 2022 that I just received tonight shows the police fire station conceptual design with a $40,000 appropriation for this year.
last night, the selectmen, that's what I was trying to tell you, but I couldn't. Last night, the selectmen approved all of the warrant articles, and gave them all their recommendation, except for, there was one proposed for, solar panels at the Kank. We did not. That will not be on the warrant. All the rest of them will.
I thought the $40,000 also went up.
Yes, that's on there.
That's on there.
Yep, we approved the one for $40,000 for conceptual design services for the new police fire station. There's the three
I don't think that-
bond proceeds that are going back to the principal, one for the roads and streets capital reserve, the 30,000 for the highway block grant, $52,831 for the new police cruiser. We also have on here that the budget committee doesn't have to approve, but it's the elderly exemption, veterans tax credit, and the service connected disability tax credit. There's also one about a deed restriction on a piece of property. And then the $40,000 for the conceptual design services for police and fire stations that you'll also have to give your recommendation to or not. And those will be printed out for you as well for Thursday.
Okay, so if I just may ask, is, because that's the one that's the $40,000 for the conceptual design. That was originally in CIP, wasn't it?
No,
No.
$20,000.
Says 40.
There's
It's
40 in
CIP.
CIP. The estimate is a minimum of 60,000. Our intention is to take a 40,000, 20,000 out of CIP, 40,000 on a warrant. And it was suggested, well, why don't we take 40,000 out of CIP, 20 on the, I just want to make sure it goes to the voters. I want this, a warrant article for however much money it is to go to the voters, and I want to be very transparent and voters to vote on it. I don't want to put it in CIP and then in a year or so, take it out and not let the voters have a say. So that was kind of why
All right,
I was kind of
Right.
adamant that it go on the warrant so that it can be discussed at town meeting.
okay, I didn't realize, and it's probably just ignorance on my part. Because I'm okay with it, that I thought the warrant articles that we had out there were what we were working with, was what we had.
No, we just approved them last night, actually.
All right, just, we have to pay attention. And as I said, not that there's anything wrong with it, and I kind of bring that out as far as, Paul, I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, and you kept pointing to everybody else, so I was waiting. That's why I kept going like this, and then I'd sit for a minute. Then I would do this again, and then I would sit for a minute.
You actually waited?
I was getting
I
there.
was gonna say, she no problem.
Hey, you know, there is a first time for everything.
Yeah, there is. Let the record show.
Good point, Paul.
Okay, no, that's good, as long as, just, as long as we're aware of all these things, and that's part of like paying attention to the selectmen's meeting, because that's where it happened last night, and sure, bring everything to the voters. Okay, anything further?
I just wanted to remind everybody one more time, because Friday is the deadline. There are 4 3-year terms available and 1 2-year term available for this budget committee.
Everybody's aware of that? Everybody knows who has to?
I've already signed
Our
my.
town clerk is in tomorrow, 10 to 4, and Friday, 10 to 5. She has to stay open until 5. For that.
Okay, everybody online, got that? Yep.
Yep.
All right. Further discussion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I saw Al's hand up first.
Perfect.
I was looking right there. Okay, discussion?
We'll give it to him.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. See you